We've now completed our M.2 NVMe Heatsink test results. And a lot of those results were really kind of amazing and astounding. I hope you're going to enjoy this because we've got 8 we're going to go through with some variances. We're going to have a chart we're going to put up, and I've got some stats we're going to look at. But what we want to identify, the problem, the solution, the test platform, and we're going to identify 5 key factors. And by the way, this is Builder Buy. Welcome. My name is Gil Boyd. I want to thank you for joining us. Now, of all the devices we've tested as we go through the system, the problem and the solution. What's the problem? Do you need an M.2 NVMe heatsink? Absolutely. It's not as big a deal on PCI Express 3, but it's a real big deal on PCI Express 4, especially second generation. And with some of the issues going on with some of the drives, vendors are swapping out components. You know, like, what's that all about? Okay, Samsung is the only one, I believe it's on the 970 that's been announced, that had a PCI Express 3.0 controller. They changed that and upgraded it to a PCI Express 4.0 controller. However, it's got a heat problem because of that controller change. So one number we've got as we go through this, and we need to consider the parameters that we're working with. Okay, on the motherboard, we have the possibility of 2 M.2 NVMe drives that go to the CPU, and we have 2 more underneath the video card that go through the chipset. Okay, other 2 that go to the CPU, we're using the second position. That position is the smallest heatsink for a single drive. This heatsink on the left is a little bit larger, and over here underneath the video card, we have 1 large heatsink for 2 drives. The test system. This is a Gigabyte TRX40 Designare motherboard where we have 2 16-lane slots and 2 8-lane slots. And one of the questions we have been asked, and I've got it up here now so you can see, we know the humidity, 45%. We know the temperature. Now this is in Fahrenheit, so it's 82 degrees. All the numbers that we're going to give for the drives are going to be in Celsius. So you can extrapolate. But that question had been asked, so that was one question now answered. So the first temperature on that M.2 connector on the motherboard, that came in at 65 degrees. We're going to have a chart that I will put up on screen later that we'll look at and reference, but right now I'm going to put the numbers across the bottom of the screen. So as we go down through this and itemize, as we look at each one of these for the what we like, what we don't like, and identifying the 3 major components. And factors that are going to become apparent as we get through this, we'll see the things that we can extrapolate are the things that make the most sense, because there's certain aspects that are going to stand out as we travel down this path. The first thing we need to look at is the drive we're testing with. So aside from the machine that we're working with, this is the WD Black SN850, and we're on the Supermicro dual M.2 NVMe adapter. And all the questions about heat sinks started as a result of the dual M.2 NVMe adapters. And it's also a problem on the quad adapters. Now, one of you has pointed out a card that'll take 5 drives. It's got a PLX chip. It's a J Micron, I believe. That too may be a card we may look at, but if it's got a PLX chip that does the lane translation, wow, it needs a heat sink. And my concern is we go from 1 heat sink to 2 heat sinks to 4 heat sinks. Weight becomes a problem. So of the 3 possible places that we'd put a heat sink, 1 being the motherboard, number 2, a dual M.2 NVMe adapter, but number 3, a quad adapter. We need a quad solution, and if it's not there, it's kind of hard to come up with something because we're looking at individual heat sinks. And because of the results we got on the motherboard at 65 degrees, it kind of makes it hard to justify changing out that heat sink on that motherboard. Another thing I like about the heat sink on the motherboard, when you have that slot and you put that in, you slide it in, you get compression where you slide it into a notch, and when you come down with that screw, you get compression. Compression is really important. That's one of the factors we need to identify. The first temperature we can look at is on the WD Black SN850, and that tests out at 92 degrees. That's a bare drive on the Supermicro card in the top position in the second slot. And something else we need to remember, being in that slot on the motherboard, we actually have a slot on each side as it relates to the slots in the case. The advantage of that is if we decide to put something on this right side, that would be some type of a blower which would sit on a PCI card attached to the case to be able to give us cooling to the dual card or the quad card. That's just something we need to be thinking about. So now the first heat sink. This is the one for micro connectors. On this one we had 70 degrees. 70 degrees was fine, and this looks like it would fit on a motherboard, and it will. But when we already get 65 degrees, why would we want 70? Okay, we got 3 components to identify. The heat sink, the thermal pad, and the bands. Because this uses bands, I'm concerned about bands over time. I think that may be a problem. Now, weight-wise, on a dual M.2 adapter, that wouldn't be a problem, but at 70 degrees, we can do better. Next up is the MHQ JRH. Now, the MHQ JRH came in at 62 degrees. Pretty good. 3 components, heatsink, thermal pad, and it has a mechanical fastening bracket that wraps around. What I like about this is because this has a bracket, we can achieve what we need to with this device for compression. And compression is extremely important. I don't think we get adequate compression with bands. This is nice. It will not go on a motherboard where there's I/O cards above it or something stacked. And if you have access, we have better solutions. So at 62 degrees, that's pretty good, but we can do better. And this is one that really blew me away. This is the Sabrent Rocket 3 heat pipe, 54 degrees. I like the way it mounts. We've got a heat sink, we've got thermal pads, and this actually has 3 thermal pads, but this has 3 copper pipes. So this is a combination. And I like the way this, the results. I mean, 54 degrees is amazing. And what we're looking at as a result of this, as we identify 5 factors, thermal pad being one, that's something we're looking at changing out for the top 2 or possibly 3, which we'll get to in a minute. My concern, my biggest concern with this has got to be the weight. This thing has some mass. It's got some weight to it. So if we're going to use this, I can see it on a motherboard. On a dual adapter, maybe 2. On a quad adapter, no way. It's too much weight. I think we can do better. Now, we can improve the thermal conductivity by changing out the thermal pad. So this is something to consider. Now this one, the AWX LUMV, this is number 5, 61 degrees. I hoped for better. I had high hopes for this because this is solid copper. The way it's machined is pretty fascinating. But the thickness of that and the height of the heatsink, of the 3 components being the heatsink, the pad, and the bands, this uses bands, and I'm concerned about the longevity of the bands. I was really excited about copper, but I wanted better. But after doing the Sabrent at 54 degrees, 61 degrees just did not get me excited. On a motherboard, too tall. On a dual adapter, this has some weight. I could see 2. On a quad card, I don't think the results are good enough at that temperature. I think we can do better. And this is number 6. This is the M.2 copper laptop, and there's a 2-pack. This is packaging from Yatang. We've been through the model number on that. Oddly enough, it's the same as the, I believe it was the MHQ JRH. Because this has to be considered, even though the temperature is not exactly where we want it, this is potential in a laptop. And the question was asked, how thick is this particular device with everything all put together? The thickness of the copper would be about the thickness of the copper with 2 pads if the bands were on here, which would be 1 pad, 1 heatsink, and bands. So that thickness is what we're looking at adding, plus the drive. With single-sided memory, we're looking at 4.7 millimeters. So for those that were asking, hope that helps. And we're talking about 3 components: copper heatsink, a thermal pad, and bands. In a laptop, this will be appropriate. And the temperature on this is 69 degrees. Now, granted, 61 degrees is better, but look at the thickness. I can use this on a motherboard. I can use this on a dual adapter. I can use this on a quad, and I can use this in a laptop. My concern in a laptop is what's going to be on top of that copper. And that's something we don't know yet that I want to find out. So all of this for this particular heatsink is preparation. Because we have an ASUS Republic of Gamers laptop that we're going to put an M.2 NVMe drive in, but I don't know what else is inside, and I won't know till I open it. But when I open it, that's a little different than opening a desktop, because when I'm there, I'm there. And I'm concerned about what goes on top of that. We're going to find that out in a separate video. But the point is, we can improve the thermal conductivity of this by changing out this pad, but at 69 degrees, that's a lot better than 92 degrees. Number 7, this is AICS. This is the one I had the most hopes for, highest hopes for, because of the way it's machined. It's a flat piece of copper, but with the serrations in it, and again, 3 components. We have a heatsink, a thermal pad, and bands. The bands I'm not a fan of, but we just didn't get the temperature I'd hoped for, 69 degrees. Okay, why would I want to use this when I can get the same reading with a flat piece of copper, 69 degrees? So, you know, change one thing changes everything. But the 69 degrees for a piece of copper versus this machined piece of copper, this has some weight. Yes, this will work on a motherboard, but the motherboard already is at 65 degrees on that heatsink. And anybody that's going to put a heatsink on a motherboard, number 1, go for whatever the vendor's got. But number 2, you got to remember that height clearance so cards will clear. Yes, they'll clear this, but The numbers just don't bear it out. So I was excited about this. I'm disappointed. And number 8, this is the acidity. This is the one that I got to say that blew me away. We have 4 heat pipes, 2 heat pipes on each side. It's aluminum and copper. It's finned. It has a wraparound. So we have a heat sink, a thermal pad, and the wraparound base. We get compression with this. That was impressive. And at the best temperature yet, 48 degrees. So we have 2 right now, and one aspect we can identify with. But I got one more before I pass judgment on what I think about this, even though I'm excited about it. And that one more we tested 2 different ways. Let's take a look. Number 9, this is the NEO aluminum with a 20mm fan. And again, we have the 3 main components, but they've added a 4th one. We have an aluminum heat sink, we have a thermal pad, we have a wraparound, and because of that fan, a lot of people have been concerned about that 20mm fan. We tested it 2 ways. Okay, with the fan, 61 degrees. Pretty impressive. It looked like it could fit on a motherboard. Again, with something over it, it cannot. On a I/O card, a dual or a quad, weight-wise, it's a little heavy. I could go with a dual adapter with a quad. That might be a problem. 5 of those? No. And then you've got the other aspect of that you have to deal with, which is hooking up all those fans, which I looked at doing another video for that. But after looking at this at 61 degrees and then looking at it at 67 degrees with no fan, that's kind of a hard pill to swallow. So I like it for what it is, but I don't think it's worth going any further because, again, if I have the room to stack up, I want to do something that can do better than this. A lot of users about the Gigabyte TRX40 Designare have been concerned about the MOSFET fan. The MOSFET fan, it'll either sound like a coil whine or it sounds like an old door with that noise whistling through. And you'll hear it when it revs up when you go into Windows. It throttles back down, but that's 1. You take that to 2, or you take that to 4, and I think that'd drive a lot of people nuts. So even though we can come up with a solution to deal with plugging in all these fans, we tried it both ways, 61 degrees and 67 degrees. So 5 things we need to look at that we can take from this. And I'm going to put up a chart now and go through this real quick. Number 1, looking at the drive, a WD Black SN850 at 92 degrees. Number 2, the micro connectors at 70 degrees. Number 3, the MHQ JRH, which is 62 degrees. But number 4, the Sabrent Rocket 3 heat pipe, 54 degrees. Okay, that's the one I've bolded, highlighted. We're going to come back to that. The AWX LUMV copper fin, 61, okay, not good enough. The M.2 copper laptop, even though it's only 69 degrees, I still think we can improve that, because remember, we're talking about a laptop. We're testing it in a desktop because we need something to work with when we get into that laptop, and if that's the only solution, that's it. My concern is, as I've said, to reiterate, what goes on top, because the copper is real good at removing the heat from the source, but we need something once it's removed from the source to dissipate, and that's the aluminum. So something else we can look at. So with the Sabrent Rocket 3 heat pipe, that's something that stands out. Heat pipes. Heat pipes are a clear winner for something like this. Now, we came across a 3rd heat pipe, but it only had 1 heat pipe so that you could adjust it. It didn't have to stay lined up right on top. It could be moved. My concern with 1 heat pipe, it might not measure up. So we've identified 2. And number 6, the M.2 copper laptop 2-pack, 69 degrees. I think we can help that with a thermal pad, which is another video we're going to do, testing the top 3. So the AICS copper. I got to tell you, that was disappointing. I expected the AICS copper to do better. But with 6 and 7 both coming in at 69 degrees, that's a no-brainer. The M.2 copper laptop, and that's a 2-pack for 69 degrees. And all we have to do for better thermal conductivity is change out the pad. I think we can get that down maybe 5 degrees. We'll see. Okay, coming up on number 8. This is the one that blew me away, the acidity 4-pipe, 48 degrees. At 48 degrees, that's the best of all of them. And I can see, based on weight, of what that weighs, even in the box, I can see putting 2 of those on a dual M.2 adapter. Now, because of the height, it's going to be a problem on a motherboard. But on a dual adapter, yes. 4 of these, wow. Yeah, I could see 4 of these. And what I like about the acidity is we get good compression. Now, we had good compression with the Sabrent, but remember, the Sabrent had 2 thermal pads underneath because we're using single-sided memory. So if I were going to use double-sided memory, my first requirement would have to be the Sabrent. But if I were using single-sided memory and I want the best temperature, it's got to be the acidity. Then number 9 and 10, the NEO. The NEO with the 20mm fan, 61 degrees, and the NEO without the 20mm fan, 67 degrees. That kind of makes that a hard pill to swallow. I like it. Won't use it on a motherboard. It's small enough. I could see a couple of those, and I could see 4 of those on a quad card. But again, having to deal with the issues with the fans, which is doable, it's just, gets more complicated. I like to keep things simple. So as it stands right now, we've got 3 that stand out. Number 4, the Sabrent Rocket 3 heat pipe. Number 2 would be the Acidity, which has the best temperature. And number 3, the copper sheet for the laptop, even though we're testing in a desktop. So those are going to be the 3 that we're going to take a look at. Now, what we can take from this, we've looked at passive cooling, and we had one solution for active cooling. So number 1, passive cooling is better. Number 2, heat pipes. Number 3, the compression. I like something that has a bracket that when you put that down, you get some compression that you can hold that, put some pressure on. So that's the third thing. Number 4, copper and aluminum. That's the way to go. And the 5th item we're looking at is the thermal pads. And that's what we're going to be dealing with in the next video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. This is Builder By. My name is Gil Boyd. We're on to the next video. We're out.